I
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Tuesday, June 20th Town Council meeting. I apologize for getting started about 33 minutes late. We had another meeting that ran a little bit late before us. So we are going to start with a Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a moment of silence for the passing of a very a big community supporter and community leader, and someone who will be missed terribly, Mr. Kurt Clemens Sr. Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. So we're going to move on to public comment. This portion of the meeting is set aside for comments from the public who are asked to limit their comments to 2 minutes. Any person interested in providing public comment should email publicmeetings@rockyhillct.gov prior to 4 o'clock on the day the meeting is scheduled, and will be provided with a link to attend the meeting and instructions on how to participate. Seeing no public comment, we will move on to appointments and...
There's one.
Good evening. My name is Mary Beth Maluccio, 4 Kroll Farm Road. And I'm here tonight with some trash talking again. It seems to be my hot topic. And I just wanted to let all of the town councilors, as well as the public, to know that that there's an event next Tuesday night called Trash Talk with Carrie Wood, and she's going to update everyone about what they've done at the state level with regard to the trash issues in Connecticut. And we also are going to talk about different options and opportunities that we might have in town to do what we can to reduce, reuse, recycle, and to also, remind people of what it means to do that in town and what constitutes recycling in your bin, and also about the idea of saving food scraps for composting. And so we invite all the town councilors to come if you can. I know you have a lot of meetings, but I think it would be really informative, and I hope that we can start to move forward together, whether it be with the town at a municipal solution or even among private citizens, just to get going forward on this topic. Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to appointments and resignations, Councilor Duff.
No appointments or resignations from our side.
And Deputy Mayor?
No appointments or resignations either.
Okay. Approval of the minutes. A, Town Council meeting, June 5th, 2023.
Motion to approve the minutes?
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Abstain.
Aye.
Okay. One abstention, Deputy Mayor Sharmat. And Jeff Levine, for the record, is virtual, and he has voted in favor of accepting. Correct, Jeff?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Moving on to subcommittee reports, Finance.
The Finance Committee has not met. As we discussed at the last meeting, our June meeting was canceled, and the date for our July meeting was moved to next Thursday, the 6th, at 6 p.m.
Thank you. Government Operations.
Government operations are not scheduled to meet since our last town council meeting. We are currently scheduled to meet on Monday, July 3rd at 5 p.m.
Thank you. Public Safety.
The meeting was canceled and rescheduled for or moved to June 26th.
Okay. Senior Liaison.
We have not met since the last council meeting.
Those are quarterly.
Those are quarterly, yes.
Thank you. Land Acquisition and Farmland Preservation.
No meeting. The regular scheduled meeting is coming up, I believe, the 27th.
27th.
Tuesday. Thank you. Liaison to the State Rep and the State Senator.
No report.
Okay. Capital Improvements Committee.
School liaison?
Oh, oh.
Thank you. I have a short one. So we had the big graduation this weekend, which everybody is probably aware of if you're following social media and if you went to Dunkin' Donuts, if you have your own kid graduating. So congratulations to everybody who graduated in the class of 2023. But there was less, notice graduation at the GMS, Griswold Middle School, a couple of weeks ago. And I just wanted to use this opportunity to thank and give a shout out to Youth Services, Lori Stanzik and her team, who put together a great reception for the kids there and the parents. It was a fun event. So as the class is graduating and going into, I get potentially class of 2027, I guess. So just have a few pictures. If John, you can just put them up. Just a sampling. Lori shared that with me graciously. So thank you, Lori, for sharing that. Again, it was a great event, and thanks to our Youth Services department for doing a great job there. I think everybody had a lot of fun. So thank you. And that's the report.
Okay. Capital Improvement Committee
We have not met since the last council meeting.
and Economic Development Subcommittee.
Also has not met.
Consent agenda, we have nothing. Old business, nothing. New business. A, discussion, possible action, SS4A grant resolution.
Yes, just a quick introduction. SS4A, Safe Streets for All, a federal grant opportunity. I've asked Director Steve Sopelak to come up and give a quick summary of what that program is about. I'm asking the Town Council for permission to submit a grant in partnership with the Town of Weathersfield. So Steve is standing at the podium, so we'll let Steve give a quick update and summary.
All right, so good evening. Back in January, we partnered with Weathersfield on what is called a RAISE grant, Rebuilding American Infrastructure with Sustainability and Equity. That's still happening. There's no update. This one's called a Safe Streets for All. It's basically a similar grant, and it's for they have a couple different types, they call them. They have one that's called a planning and demonstration grant, and then they have one that's called a implementation grant. As you could guess, the implementation is there's already a plan, and we're going to implement it. We're going for the planning and demonstration grant with the town of Weathersfield, which would be, I have the numbers here. It's about $1 million. And this is to plan safety improvements on the Silas Deane from Parsonage north to the Hartford city line, up and down the Silas Deane Highway. Weathersfield is the lead. They're 75% of the project. We have 25% in town. And when you break it down, our costs, our share is like $39,050. Weathersfield's match is $117,000. Weathersfield's also doing what they call a demonstration project, which is it's about $250,000, and it's basically adding some pavement markings and raised islands in the middle of Silas Deane Highway. So that's their portion of the demonstration. That's going to be, if you know Weathersfield, at Church Street to Wells Road. So it's the point of that is to try something new and see if it works, and then if it does, implement it up and down the whole corridor. So, questions?
What are we doing in Rocky Hill?
This whole thing is a planning. It's a study and planning grant. So really, the bulk of this is going to be, as I said, Weathersfield's taking the lead. They have a consultant already earmarked, not on staff, but earmarked, and they will do the study, the plans, and then we'll come back with what the plans would be.
If I may, we're looking from Parsonage north to Town Line Road.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Under the underpass, looking for pedestrian safety improvements, making it a little bit easier for people if they plan on walking, to access the commercial areas on the other side of 91, on the north side of 91. So that was our main priority, looking at that dogleg exit ramp coming in on both sides.
Yeah. The DOT has talked about doing, next time they pave Silas Deane, some different line striping. Mm-hmm. That's probably 7 to 10 years down the road. But this, as I said, is more of a plan. They call it a planning grant. So it's for to hire a consultant to do the study, to do the design, and then apply for something in the future.
And our match is $39,000 for
Correct.
the study.
For the study, it's about $1 million grant that they're looking for.
Go ahead, Bill.
Yeah, thank you. So, Steve, so once the plan has been completed and recommendations have been made, so what does implementation look like then? Is it something that we'd be looking for grants or a referendum or something, to actually make it happen?
Just considering their demonstration grants, $250,000, and it's by and large some pavement marking and some raised islands over 1, 2, 3 blocks. It's going to be a very expensive project. Yeah, it's $1 million just for the study. So you figure that's probably 10% of the cost.
And this is specific, and this is just to the stretch of Silas Deane then?
Correct.
It's okay.
Yeah. From Parsonage to Hartford.
Right.
So our portion would be about 25% of that.
Okay. And we talk about this demonstration. I assume the hope is that some of the principles that we figure out here are specific to Silas Deane maybe can be applied elsewhere.
Yes. As I said, their demonstration is to I call them a chicken lane. You know, when you have the alternating, you eliminate one lane and you put the middle lane, you can take a left turn. To have those, and at the ends, they'd have raised islands. And see how that works. I mean, the raised islands in the middle of the road, if you've been to West Hartford on Farmington Ave, they have them, but there's also plantings. And part of that goal, too, is where they're putting these raised islands, it eliminates folks from taking, say, a left into a commercial driveway. Half the accidents are at driveways on the Silas Dean. So it eliminates people taking a left out of that driveway, crossing over 2-3 lanes of traffic, or turning in. When we tried that recently with the Silas Dean streetscape, we tried to do that, and there's a lot of pushback from the merchants. So, but you know, it's a few years later, so who knows how it'll go up in Weathersfield. So that's kind of their whole plan, is just the pavement markings, the islands, and the, as I call them, the chicken lanes.
Okay, thank you.
So there's it's $1 million project. There's
Study. It's a study.
Study. So you mentioned that, and they were pursuing a planning and demonstration grant, but it sounds like that demonstration, that the $250,000.
That's part of it. So it's
That's part of it.
$750,000 for your consultant to do the study, and $250,000 on their end. So we're not helping fund that part. That was a question. Would you like to participate? No.
And so that's a pretty comprehensive study,
Yes.
right? So I'm going to assume includes engineering work and
Yes.
all that. So it basically makes whatever the next phase will be shovel ready, or close to.
It's
the
going to
goal?
be, it's going to have plans, but you know, then we'll still have to go through the process of DOT, because it is their road, and then there's a lot of back and forth and design modifications and changes. So it'll probably be like a 30% ready plan. You know, DOT does 30%, 60, 90, and 100 on their reviews.
And then, because the Silas Dean is a state road, how does the town input play a role? Will we have our planning and zoning or town staff and providing input, or this is just they're going to do the study, whatever they perceive as best practices is what's kind of going to happen?
Yeah. Kind of like what we did with the streetscape. That we had a plan, we had a consultant, they developed a plan, went back and forth with DOT, and then out to bid and construction.
Part of the, I imagine, part of the planning grant would be
Public hearings.
public hearings,
Yes.
public input at certain points.
Thanks.
Yeah, is there a reason Weathersfield is the lead on this?
75% of the road is in their town.
So, but when you get the matching grant, does that affect?
It will split it 75-25.
It will,
Yeah.
okay. All right. And what is the timeline? I don't know if you talked about that already.
Right now, this is just an application phase, and this is a national thing. Both these grants raise in an SS4A. So they get thousands of grants, so they have to review them all and then tell us if we're selected or not. So
Okay.
there's no guarantee.
Of course, yeah. Thank you.
So we mentioned streetscapes, and I would think if one of the big suggestions we would make maybe is to connect our streetscape to Weathersfield.
Correct.
That stretch for us.
Correct, yes.
You know, and so that would be both
If-
sides of the highway?
If they would,
All the way down?
yeah, if they would fund that. Every grant's different, so they might not fund, they might fund the improvements physically, the road. They might not fund the landscape portion. Every grant's different. So until we get it and get rolling, I can't say one way or the other. Because the one we had was, do you remember what that one was called?
That was called a TAP, Transportation Enhancement Program.
Which included that. So like when we do our paving projects, the last bunch we did with well, they all have different names, like Tiger was one, ARA. They covered just the milling and paving and signs. That's it. We couldn't even go up a side street, 100 feet to fix something. They didn't include trees, landscape, any of that. The last one we had was for that specific purpose. So every grant's going to be different.
Yeah, I would just.
Yeah,
argue-
no, I
would
agree.
argue that would make
Yeah,
it
yeah.
safer.
Yeah.
So, Steve, I don't know if I direct this to you or to Mona, but the $40,000, was that accounted for in?
Road referendum.
You're right.
So we have out of the referendum money is what you're saying we're going to use it?
Mm-hmm.
And that And this will be a 23-24
Correct.
item? So it's coming basically out of the paving fund?
Right. If
we
the application
get it.
goes that way,
If we
yes.
get approved?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
All right, thank you.
Yeah. Like I said, we applied for that raise grant. It's February it went in. So we're, 3-4 months out, and there's been no word. I just checked today. Anyone
On the
else?
same line, just more curiosity, but like just a guess, how long would it take to maybe get approved for that type of grant?
I just can't say. I mean,
This, they didn't have deadline, they didn't have a timeline attached to this yet. It's, we don't know yet.
yeah. If this were a local thing, like when we applied to CROG
Or steep.
for a steep grant or one of their grants, a lot zip grant, they go pretty quick, and we're kept in the loop. All the applications are in, we're going to review, and decisions going to be made. It's usually a couple months. This, I just don't know. Like I said, the raise grant's been there since March, or beginning of March, so it's March, April, May, June. You're 4 months in, and there's not even been a peep.
Okay.
All right.
So we'll do a motion then? Okay, so if we can get a motion to authority to submit the SS4A Planning and Demonstration Grant proposal in partnership with the town of Weathersfield.
So Ray, we would read the resolution in our packet?
Sure.
All right. So, Madam Mayor, I'd like to make a motion on this resolution. Resolution authorizing the town to apply for a Safe Streets and Roads for All grant. Be it resolved that Ray Carpentino, Town Manager, is hereby authorized to apply for, on behalf of the town of Rock Hill, a Safe Streets and Roads for All grant, which was established by the Bipartisan Infrastructure Law Bill and supports the U.S. Department of Transportation's National Roadway Safety, in partnership with the town of Weathersfield, in the amount up to $1.1 million for a planning study and demonstration activities for the Silas Deane Highway, with the town of Rocky Hill's share of matching funds not to exceed $40,000. In furtherance, Ray Carpentino, Town Manager, is hereby authorized to enter into and execute any and all agreements, contracts, and documents necessary to obtain this Safe Streets and Roads for All, parentheses, SS4A, close parentheses, grant, and that Ray Carpentino currently holds the title of Town Manager and has held that office since November 1st, 2022.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, Jeff. Okay, that passes. Moving on to B, discussion possible action, street acceptance southerly extension on South Brook Road.
Kim Ritchie, Town Planner, will be here to discuss this request from the Planning and Zoning Commission.
Hello. Southbrook Road, as you may have known over the past several years, has been extended approximately 400 lineal feet. The final inspections were done actually last year, and due to a leave on my part, I'm just coming to you now for the street acceptance. So everything has been done. We have the final as-built, which have been reviewed, and we're looking to add approximately 400 lineal feet to Southbrook Road, which has been constructed according to town specifications.
And you have a resolution attached in your package.
Okay.
Madam Mayor, I'd like to make a motion with regards to resolution, be it resolution for this street amendment. Be it resolved that an southerly extension of Southbrook Road, approximately 400 lineal feet, as shown on the plan, quote, Rose Farm Estates, also known as Southbrook Subdivision, 3149 Main Street, Rock Hill, Connecticut. Valentine Brothers Builders LLC, prepared January 2nd, 2014 by Halsey, Pearson, and Cassidy, and revised to December 4th, 2014. Recorded with the town clerk at map set 3,860 on March 9th, 2015, close quotes. Is constructed in accordance with town specifications and is hereby accepted as a town street in accordance with the recommendation of the Town Planning and Zoning Commission under Section 8-24 of the Connecticut General Statutes.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Discussion?
I just had a quick question, just because the dates mentioned are they're from 2015. Is that when the original road was completed, and then we've added that 400 lineal feet to it, or could you explain maybe how that lines up with what we're doing today?
Okay, that was the subdivision approval.
So the subdivision was approved, but now the work is done.
Correct.
Okay, thanks.
Anyone else? All in favor? Aye. Thank
Aye.
you. Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, Kim. Moving on to C, discussion possible action, proposal to create an ordinance to establish an affordable housing committee.
We have Kim Ritchie, who has not left the podium here tonight. This is a follow-up to last meeting when the town council passed an ordinance to form or to adopt the affordable housing plan. And tonight, before you have a draft of a affordable housing committee. So there was a request to pass an ordinance to create this affordable housing committee. We have to go through the public hearing process, but Kim is here tonight just to walk you through it, just so you have a good background before we advertise for a public hearing, if that's what you want to do.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you. We know that the Affordable Housing Plan was adopted by both Planning and Zoning Commission as well as this body, the Town Council, and we appreciate that. One of the first things that needs to happen to implement that plan is the Town Council, in concert with the Town Manager, is to adopt and create an Affordable Housing Committee. When I thought about this, I was thinking about the Commission on Inclusion or Innovation and Inclusion as far as the creation ordinance, using that as a model and a guide. And I did meet with Dana McGee, who was instrumental in creating that ordinance and the process for selecting the members. So I basically took that ordinance as a model. If you turn the page, there's the draft ordinance, creation, purpose, and duties. And under the purpose, I took that word for word out of the Affordable Housing Plan. So the purpose of the committee is directly taken out of the Affordable Housing Plan, which I didn't give you folks the plan. You had it from, I guess, a previous meeting. So the purpose basically is to advocate and oversee affordable housing efforts, educate, raise awareness, assist in managing special housing fund if established, and update the housing plan every 5 years, which is required by state law. In order to accomplish the purposes of the first section, as far as implementation, those would include the strategies, goals, and objectives within the housing plan. So I basically summarized those in that section as far as purposes go. What we'd like to do is use the same process as selecting the boards for the innovation and inclusion as far as an application process. What we'd like to do is try to be as inclusive as possible and create an application where we find out about the person. Names would be redacted through the HR department, as was with the Commission on Inclusion and Innovation. and try to get more individuals involved in the community. Obviously, this is a special group of individuals that we'd like to have serve on this board. It would be appointed by the town council. We would have, the majority party would appoint 4 people. The minority party would appoint 3 people. It would be a 7-member board, as was the other commission, appointing alternates also. So 7 members total with staggering terms. So I put that in there as well. What we'd like to do is also have people that may not have been involved in the past and actually create a committee that would benefit from affordable housing also. So instead of just having the people, that have the means to live in the town, we would like to have people that may not have the means living in town. People from the Housing Authority, for example. We would maybe reach out to some of these more special interest groups. But that's kind of it in a nutshell. I don't know if you have any other questions of the ordinance. As I said, it is predicated upon current Chapter 24 in the Town Code, and the application will be done and predicated on that process as well.
I think that those are all excellent points, and I'm wondering if, I just looked at the membership paragraph, and I don't think I saw it, and I wonder if it makes sense to include that language that where, if feasible, at least one member should come from some affordable housing community within Rocky Hill. Is that something that gets put into here so that it carries through, that intent carries through? And I'm also wondering, I would like to make a recommendation that the members not serve on other committees and commissions and task force and so on, so that we get a broad range of involvement. So I'm going to put that out there for discussion, those two things.
If I may, if the language does state a broad cross-section of town residents, local business representatives, are diverse income levels, diverse cultural and social backgrounds and abilities. So I think that's covered there. It would be reviewed by, I think the process, I was told by Dana McGee for that other commission, was that there were 2 members of the town council that looked at redacted applications. Names and contact information was redacted. And there were 2 members of the council, it's my understanding, looked at applications and kind of selected people for suggestions for membership that way. I would see that process happening again.
I'm still going to throw it out there for discussion,
Okay.
though, because those are two important criteria that I think, we can rely on the subcommittee to do that, but if that is indeed our intent, it may be worth putting it in writing. So I open that up for discussion if anyone wants to comment.
Yeah, I agree. I think we should make that clear that we want people from different economic backgrounds and so forth, and just, that they shouldn't be on other committees and so forth, because I think we need to spell it out. Because you want diversity, you want just all people from one or the other, you want different levels.
Yeah.
You should include that.
Yeah, I would agree that I think the current language is good. It might be aspirational, but having, especially as we get off the ground, having at least one person in some form of an affordable housing situation, I think would be helpful. Whether it's the housing authority, whether it's one, with some of the deed restriction units that are coming online. It's important, I think, that this committee has representation from people who are living that experience and can better advocate, since advocacy is part of the mission. So I would support that change. And then I'm sure other folks have questions, but if we could just walk through what that process looks like. I know we've got a public hearing, but we only have a couple meetings this summer. Looks like the panel is the intention is to start the committee on January 1st, so some sort of general discussion of timeline would be helpful.
You mean now?
Yeah.
Now?
Like, is it within the next 6 months, kind of like, what is the?
I'm kind of hoping that we do this sooner, at least we can have a hearing, within the next 2 months.
So do we need the committee now?
Yeah, I guess to clarify, and sorry that was a vague question, been a long day. So in the draft ordinance, we have, looks on or earlier, January 1st, 2024. What do we need to get there? Because that assumes that we're going to pass, an ordinance may pass, people have time to apply, we'll have time to vet them. So working backwards, just kind of what do the steps look like?
Well, the first step is to have a hearing and adopt the ordinance.
Yep.
And then Kim would be working with probably HR to get that process of how to advertise and, for that type of committee, and then vet the applicants. I'm not sure how long that takes. I'm not sure how long it took initially for the other commission. But, that's basically the process, and then you set up the, well, you already have them. You already have the guideline,
Then it would be a matter
Bylaws.
of the subcommittee of the two-member person committee from the town council to sit down and review the applications and to bring those nominations back to the council for appointments.
But you're probably looking at 2 more meetings, right? You need a resolution to authorize you to finalize this draft ordinance and bring it back to council to, say, approve the ordinance to go into effect.
And then wait 30 days.
And then we have to staff the committee.
Correct.
So.
I had a, what, oh, sorry. Right, go ahead.
Go ahead, Jeff.
No, I just had a question about kind of how you go about doing this. I think the idea of having someone that's on another committee is a good one, and diverse financial backgrounds. But like, how would you go about knowing you have people from diverse financial backgrounds? Are people going to submit tax returns? Are they going to talk about is it just based on where they live? Do they have to put balance sheets? And what's the criteria? What's diverse as far as financial goes? What are the thresholds? So is there some work that needs to be done as far as kind of fleshing that out, how you would test for that?
I don't think we're going to.
I don't know if people want to, or we're going to apply for this, may want to give their financial background in order just to be on a volunteer committee. So I guess that's the question.
Yeah. No, we won't be doing that, but there has to be a way to do this in a way that works. It's done in other, I don't know that process right now, but
I mean,
we will.
I do hope that I would like to send the application to the Housing Authority to make sure we have at least one representative from possibly both complexes. So,
But they would already be qualified by virtue that
Correct.
they're already in an affordable housing situation.
Correct.
So they're already pre-qualified. Everybody else is a political appointee to the committee.
not necessarily political, but they would be appointed by
Side A
by
and
political
side B.
parties.
Caucus A and
Correct.
Caucus B.
Yeah, but we wouldn't be asking them their political affiliation. No.
in possibly with a background in either real estate or development or construction or advocacy of some form. And I think that's how you get that diversity, by going through different backgrounds and, interests, aside from,
And one of the questions,
Aside from income.
in trying to recruit new interest in town would be to ask them, have you served on a previous board, commission, or volunteer effort for the town, and if so, what? Not necessarily when, but what? And then have them write that down, because it would be nice if we had people that are new to serving the community.
Yeah, so the question really is like, do we want to explicitly put that in, that language, right? Where we want to say, you shouldn't have served on the board or a commission before.
They did not do that for in the Commission on Inclusion and Innovation, in that ordinance. But in reviewing the applications, that was in the committee's mind. But they did not put that in here.
I think you couldn't serve simultaneously on inclusion and innovation and another committee in town. If that was the intent, right?
But is that the intent now?
I think so.
Except that I think we do have people who serve across
Multiple committees?
committees.
We do.
So I have a question, and maybe I missed something. I thought at one point, Kim, you indicated that the selection process, that the applicant's going to be anonymized in some way? We're not going to know their names?
Yeah.
It would be redacted.
Okay, but are we going to see their addresses? Are we going to see, like, what information will we have about them? So, yeah, so
they're
going back to
person.
Jeff made some great points as to how you achieve diversity if you're not going to be given information that you would need
You
to
could see,
accomplish
you could
that.
see a street name, possibly, but not
Okay.
necessarily a number.
Well, so, that's
Yeah.
like using a proxy though, Kim, right?
I
I
know.
mean,
Well, right, yeah.
Should
I
there
don't
be
know.
a box that
Yeah, but
actually
that's, I mean, that's
says?
the application. We're not even on to the application now. We're just trying for the ordinance. The application's next.
Okay.
Yeah.
So- All right, so is the application part of this meeting? No, just the ordinance.
The ordinance.
Okay, so for purpose of the ordinance, I guess the question is, do we want to have something in there that says at least one member should be from an affordable housing community? If that ends up being some type of, senior adult living community or the housing authority itself, whatever, because we don't know what the interest is going to be. But at least we get that in there.
The only piece I'd caution on this, we all struggle to find volunteers willing to serve on different committees. And if we put in that one person has to be from an affordable housing sector and nobody applies, what do we do? I think in theory, it makes great sense.
Well, it
but-
doesn't have to, we don't have to mandate it, but we could say at least one person, at least one member should be.
Preference
Right.
given to,
That's fine.
that's something
right.
like that.
Preferred.
But, and
Oh, you're right.
that's kind of why we have people serving on multiple committees, is because we can't find enough people to go around. And, now we're saying we need new people that aren't serving and one from the affordable housing. I'm kind of the devil's advocate. If we don't get these people, what do we, then we have a committee that isn't fully functioning.
Point well taken. I think we can say at least one should, something,
Yeah.
if we could.
Preference be given to.
Yeah.
Make it
Yeah,
aspirational.
I'm fine with that. I just don't want to
You're right, narrow it.
prohibit us from moving forward.
What is an affordable housing community? Is that a neighborhood too? Could it be a neighborhood?
Yeah,
Right.
be.
yeah.
Do we have, so for example, when the new apartments go up at Kelson Row, and a certain number of those, or the other developments that are being spoken of in town, and a certain number of units are flagged as affordable, 10% are affordable, whatever the number is, does the town have awareness of what those units are, or is that something where it's just managed within the private?
No,
We will. We will have, once they're constructed, yes.
So in the future, it seems like there might be more of those types of things. So perhaps in the screening process, when we get there, HR, whoever's redacting the information, could just say this person, yes or no, is either in the affordable housing or not. Potentially, it could also be, an elderly parent or a child living in one of those things, who they might not own the unit in their name. It might not be their asset, but they have the experience too. Another thing to consider as well. But as long as town staff has that, I think we could probably make it a lot less complex. Like, I completely agree with Councilor Levine. We don't want to be making it onerous, making people feel they've got to, give a lot of personal information and their bank account and credit score, to serve on a board and like that. So.
Wonderful.
Okay.
Perfect.
Okay.
Anything else? Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do we have to make a motion to move it to public hearing?
Or do we need to see the draft ordinance?
Yeah, you need to, you have will the draft ordinance we'll be tweaking this ordinance, correct? A little bit, based on tonight? Yes, we will. Yeah, so next meeting, we can have a revised draft, and then at that point, we can schedule a public hearing.
And that doesn't, so that would potentially be August.
August.
Would be the public hearing, and that doesn't throw things off.
That should be okay.
Okay. So we can move on then?
Yes.
Okay. C, D, discussion, update on bulky waste schedule and sanitation.
So, as part of the budget we just passed, within that budget, there were some proposed policy changes in bulky waste pickup and also some sanitation proposals that will address better efficiencies, lower costs, ease of operation. So based on that, it was decided to have our Superintendent of Highways, Joe Lentini, come and give a quick talk to the Town Council as to what we're thinking of. And before you have a colorized map that was prepared by Community Development Services. So Joe, maybe we can walk through that pretty quickly.
Yeah, we'll start with the map. Steve Sopelak, the director, helped us with this map for our collections. What we're trying to be more efficient, manage the pickups better, the locations. So this map will help us. It will be Sector 1, Sector 2, Sector 3. It would be Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, bulky pickups. So the resident from whatever sector would call, and we would say that your sector is a Tuesday, so if they called on that Monday, we would probably not be able to pick it up until the following Tuesday. We'd tell them to place it out Monday night, and we'll pick it up Tuesday. So that we're efficient, we're streamlining, we're going to be in one area, sector at a time. We're not going to be driving from the west end to the east end 3 different times a day. So that will save us a tremendous amount of time and managing and scheduling. Plus with the bulk items, and we've been doing this, we've been having several meetings, obviously with Mona McKim, and our admin for Public Works, Lynn Wachowski, she's been helping a lot because she takes all the calls. And, she's been helping streamline this also. When she takes the call, she tries not to give a pickup for Valley Brook and then Whitewood. So we're not, she's been trying to streamline it all along. But this map that Steve developed was really going to help us and really nail down our time management, which is huge. And also, we've been working on the pickups. Lynn's been doing a great job with the calls. Somebody has a toaster oven. Well, you can put it in your car and bring it down. That would be a great help for us instead of me driving all the way, 5 miles away and going to get a toaster oven. So she's been doing a tremendous job managing the pickups. But with that, I'd like to get out to say, if you could put it in your car, bring it to the transfer station. And with that, any questions on the bulky waste? We like to keep it with the furniture and appliances. You buy a new sofa, love seat, whatever, couch, chair, recliner, those are items we have no issues picking up. Those are easy. Even a water heater, our trucks are equipped so that the guys are not killing themselves and we can manage and pick it up. But, some smaller items that you can fit in your car, we'd like you to bring it to us. And with that, we'd also have been thinking and talking about opening the transfer station later for one evening. So on a Wednesday, which currently we're Thursday, Friday, 7 a.m. to 2, and Saturday, 7 to 1. So open on a Wednesday from 11 or noon in the afternoon to 5 or 6. So that'll accommodate the person who, works a little bit later and can bring their items, after 2 o'clock. So that's part of this implement too with the bulky waste is also the transfer station. That's number 2, opening on a Wednesday, a little bit later. Any questions with those 2 items?
Yeah, just a quick question on just jumping back to your toaster oven or microwave. If it fits, will it ship? can you put it in your green? If it, you sometimes you see the top is not completely closed.
well, no,
You
the
dump it in there and push it up to the road?
No. You mean put in your cart, in other words?
Yeah.
No, those items, that's not the recycling that goes in those bins. And,
Poor Joe.
Yeah, the green, like, the blue cart
no.
is, the blue cart is no electronics. Anything you could plug in, that is not going in for bulky waste. That is separate. Even a fan that you have, blowing in the window. If you plug it in, those are electronics. We don't make a lot of money, but we make money on electronics, TVs, toaster ovens, microwaves, all those, anything you could plug in, that goes separate. It's not a bulky waste, it's not plastic, it's not going as a charge, okay? So don't put it in your recycling or don't put it in your trash, please. I mean, basically, while I'm standing here, that green cart that you wheel to the curb, your kitchen waste and your bathroom waste are the only two items that are supposed to go in there. Not carpet, not chairs, not microwaves, not fans. And the blue bin is paper, cardboard, plastics, the 1 through 10 items. Metal, the small cans. So I officially said it here.
Since we are doing education here, can you clarify if pizza boxes go into that blue one?
If it's not full of oil, and you remove that that plastic paper or that wax paper, remove that and throw it away. Yeah, you cut it up, recycle it.
Because I heard on radio you should not put it in there.
They accept it at our facility, but they don't want. If it has a ton of oil, a little common sense will tell you that's contaminated.
Sure. Okay, so it's long. By the way, staying on that topic, is there a way to have an education campaign around this issue? Because I will just
that's part of
come out and say I'm very ignorant about a lot of things here, and
Yeah.
I would like to be educated.
No, I understand. So our communication, our meetings that we've been having are also how we're going to get to the residents. A lot of ideas, a magnet on your refrigerator with items, do's and don'ts. We have a sheet. We've already made it up. We've been discussing this and having meetings. We're going to implement that, and we're going to communicate better with all the residents. They're going to know the do's and don'ts.
Great.
Okay, so whatever that may be, a magnet, a mouse pad, anything, there's a lot of discussions. We're going to get something out so that everybody is aware of what you could do at the curb and at the transfer
Yeah,
station.
that will be great because, it's like an evolving thing,
Yeah.
right? I mean, what I learned in 2015 does not apply probably, so
No.
I think that will be good. Thank you.
Absolutely.
And I would encourage everyone to go to Recycle CT. They have an app. You download it on your phone, and it's called What's In, What's Out. And you just type in soda can. It will come up, and it'll tell you whether it goes in trash or recycling.
Yeah.
I think I should get that.
That would be a good reference to put on the website, too. And maybe even add a little video to the site to show that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is there. The website has that sheet right now for the do's and don'ts. It does. It's on, I believe it's up there, right?
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think we're hopefully going to have it on the app, because right now, when you go to the app, that the sanitation doesn't come as a button, but our goal is to put that on the app as well.
And I think once we hear back from DEEP, which is
Yes,
another topic,
we have
we
some
can roll out a
education.
lot of education.
Is it called the Recycle CT Wizard?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So if you go, it's like a yellow symbol, I guess, with the CT in there. I'm going to download it. Thank you. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
So what are the hours of the,
Well, again,
Transfer
I
station.
mentioned the 2 hours there, 11 to 5 or noon to 6. Obviously, that's going to hinge on, it's tough for me to find help at that facility. I'm still having trouble. But that's our goal. We definitely need to be open one night a week. We've been discussing it for a while, and that option is it's gonna happen. We're gonna make it work. Because it's going to be a big help for it's going to be a big help for the residents and for me with my sectors here. People can come to me. We'd rather have that.
And I was just going to ask, I love the idea of going later.
Yeah.
And any chance to push till 7 o'clock? I mean, those getting out of work at 5 don't have a chance to put the stuff in the car before you close.
Are you working from home?
I didn't say me personally. I'd get there at 7 a.m. if you'd like, but.
Listen, right now, we're still in the planning stage, obviously, and when we sit down and,
We
you
can
know,
work toward
map
it.
this out, yeah, the best option, we're gonna find the best option.
I mean, Saturday's great if you're around and able to do it. I mean,
Yeah.
But of course, there's those that work Saturday and,
Well, then you're fighting with 300 other cars.
yes.
Saturday's a busy day.
Right, and I could actually see an evening becoming as busy as a Saturday for everybody coming home from
Well,
work.
it'll alleviate our Saturdays too.
That may be a positive.
And it'll alleviate me going to the sectors. I mean, we've picked up 500 items since January 1st. And we're not even, we had our busy month starts now with all the teachers coming out of school because the honey-do list has to come. And, you know, people are home, stay-at-home vacation, stay-at-home work, whatever. So, you know, we're coming into our busy period right now, the next 2 months.
Right.
Where, you know, we'll do probably 300 pickups in the next 2 months, and that's a lot.
Just, the map's great, and I like the idea of breaking it up.
Yeah.
Do you know when you're anticipating implementing it and how you're going to give some notice so people know that you've kind of made that change?
I would say we're not far away.
July 1st.
You know, I would say a month, maybe. No, I wouldn't say more than 2, but we're close.
Yep.
We're really close.
Yeah. I like to believe that's going to drive people to kind of plan. Not
Yes.
just put it out and, you know, we know we're coming. And,
Right.
you know, the positive with the bulky raised pickup, and we've talked about it in other, we talked about charging and other things over prior years. The problem was then you have people dumping on the side of the road. This program's helped us keep our town clean, and that's a real positive, and it's a great service that the town offers. So, you know,
Absolutely.
I'd like to see you continue to fine tune it, and I think people continue to use it.
Yeah. Yeah, we need to become more efficient, no question.
Yeah.
The scheduling, we're you know, there's a lot of nuts and bolts, there's a lot of loose parts, there's a lot to this, but I think we can manage the time and the pickups, you know, with the location like that we have here, which Steve developed. I think the program can continue and it'll be safe and manageable.
Excellent. Thank you.
Yeah.
Getting back to the question about education, just something you touched on a little bit earlier with electronics. You know, we don't want to throw them into our carts. Someone has, you know, the flat screen TV with crack in it. Is that bulky waste, or do we call you to make an appointment to pick it up? How does that?
Your flat screen, like that screen in front of you?
Yeah.
No, bring it to me.
Okay. So, but
Or if you have other items, I'll pick it up with other items. I mean, I don't want to come to your house.
oh,
for
I meant
free.
like you know, like the living room TV.
Yeah, we take
Like
the
a 50
TV.
inch or whatever.
Yeah, we take whatever, 20 inch to 78, whatever, the biggest.
So it's the same process. It's just
You haven't been to the transfer station lately?
have not. Yeah. Sevensville, I'm usually doing.
We
some,
have a lot of
shopping.
TVs down there right now. You'd be surprised.
But people at home, if they have that one sitting in the basement, they
Yeah, they
call
can bring it down. Even the ones that are weigh 300 pounds and you can't even
No
get your
glass
arms
tube.
around it. Yeah.
The other thing is that you mentioned some of the efficiencies. Is there a way to do this either, like have a form, like or on through the app, like we have for like potholes and reporting, or has that been explored? If there's a way that might, and then you put in your address, and maybe it gives you like a receipt, tells your pickup time. I don't know if that would make things easier or not.
Oh, yeah, and Joe and I are working on that, and that's really the goal, and it makes it easier with having the mapping, and as he said, Lynn does a great job collecting the information, so that's, you know, hopefully we'll get a sense by collecting the data about where the needs are, what the usage and frequency and so forth. And that can, if anything, maybe tweak the map if we find it tends to be a little, you know, top-heavy on one side or the other. That's really part of the goal.
Yeah.
Could you actually get
A form?
a receipt? You mentioned a receipt, Chris.
Well, it'd be great, like, you put in your phone number, you get a text.
An email confirmation.
Email confirmation.
There's
Yeah.
programs out there.
Yes.
They are out there. We have researched, I have, because I had one in my prior job, but with that, you know, you need people, you know, because that has to be monitored.
Yep.
Once it's checked, then it goes to either the superintendent or the director, whatever, and then he okays it, and then it goes back out, okay, you can pick it up. You know, there's a lot to that. You can't just somebody submit, yeah, okay, pothole's pretty simple, but putting items at the curb is a little more intricate, and you really need somebody on that all the time. It works. It works but it's got to be managed correctly, and somebody's got to be on that. It's 24 hours because they're submitting at midnight, 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. You're getting beeps and tings, to pick up their items. With that, in our schedule, I think once we implement this, get this system on, get everything out, so the communications, then we can work on that program to see how it best fits our program.
And then my last question was for folks who are in apartments or condos that have their own private hauler. Sometimes you see the stuff that people just drag by whatever their bin is. It has the big fork that gets dumped in. Are they able to do that for bulky waste, or that's between them and whoever?
Part of this discussion has been the communication with the apartments and condos.
This is a good segue.
You know it.
It's a good
Segue to
segue,
part
Joe.
3, Joe.
Yeah, so.
It wasn't planned.
So,
really worked
yes, that is sloppy. That really needs to be managed a lot better. We've had communication because we get the calls, and Lynn, again, has been doing a fantastic job, especially on the apartment sector, because we no longer pick up the bulky waste from the apartments. So they manage it. The problem is if they get a dumpster, it's just like you at home. What are you throwing in that dumpster? They throw in everything, but it gets separated at the facility, which is a good thing. I've seen refrigerators, washers, dryers, couches. It's all in a dumpster. But at the facility, they do separate it. So that's a good thing. Here, the condos, if you look at the dumpsters, yeah,
People move out, they leave the mirror.
I'm a little disappointed, yeah. If they could fit it, they're going to put it in, no matter what it is. So that's a little frustrating. And with that, so we are trying to do a better job with trash and recycling. We got a program we're implementing this summer so that we'll continue to service for residents as status quo, and anybody over 3 units or commercial, they're going to have a fee for their trash and recycling disposal. The bulky waste right now will remain the same. They'll be, because they're in our sector, so we'll keep that the same for now. But they have the option to opt out of our pickup, or we're going to give them a discount to stay with our program and pay.
I'll jump in on that. So we do have about 20 condo associations identified that have the trash carts, and they should be having their own service. And letters are going out, hopefully in the next couple of weeks, that we have, I think it was over 2,000 carts at these various 20 locations. So the letter will go out and basically give that association the opportunity to either go out and find their own hauler or to continue with our existing service. The letter includes what our cost is, and this is just the cost for collection. This isn't the disposal, the tipping fees. This is just collection at this point in time, and just recommending that 50%. So, and that will, generate some offset to the town. I imagine as we go further, we'll want to look at any additional charges, but we've got to get them either using their own service or for paying for that service, which really should not have continued over the past few years.
So we'll be phasing that in, like 50% of the cost, and then eventually going into the full cost of the town collection for those units. Anything over 3 families, condominium and apartment complexes.
How were those 20 complexes, like, how did they arrive in the situation where we were picking up the garbage? Is it because there's random? I mean, it's not affordable or anything like that?
I think it's something we've inherited kind of historically, and something Joe and I have been talking about for a time, that we wanted to just, start, kind of doing things on a better process. So it goes back probably a number of years prior to both.
Yeah, prior to both of us. When I came in, it was probably one of my first questions.
And you said they have our carts, so if you have a regular Rocky Hill green and blue garbage can,
Right.
this probably applies to you, and if you don't, then you probably have, your association may already have its own hauler.
Correct.
Any questions?
Good. Thanks.
That's it.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, let's move on to the mayor's report. First, happy Father's Day to everybody. I hope everyone had a very happy Father's Day. I want to take a moment to thank a gentleman who's going to be retiring and relocating to Florida, who has been very active in our community. I think he may have served on the insurance committee. Jerry? Did Jerry Luzak serve on insurance committee?
Jerry Luzak?
Yes.
Yes.
Yep. Okay, I said it, Jerry Luzak. So, Jerry, I don't know if you're listening or if you even watched the meetings, but on behalf of the town council, we just want to say thank you for your many, many years of serving on the Memorial Day Parade Committee, for serving on the Rocky Hill Chamber of Commerce, for serving on the Insurance Committee, and just being a very active volunteer in numerous activities in town, running your own insurance company here in town, being very active in the business community, and always giving back, you and your wife, through your business and through your time. And for representing our community so passionately and doing that so well. So on behalf of us, thank you very much, and we wish you a very happy retirement. Tomorrow, Tuesday, is Wear Purple Day. So in recognition of Alzheimer's awareness, so we'll just put out that little PSA. The Alzheimer's Association is conducting a Paint the Town Purple campaign, which runs in September. And so we're going to consider getting involved in something to help promote that here in town. The past couple of weeks have been incredibly busy in Rocky Hill. So I don't know, for those of you who are on social media, if you saw the fire department had the really cool privilege of being able to secure President Biden's motorcade. They had a visit from the Secret Service, and it was all top secret. They hid everything. I'm told it was quite funny because as top secret as DC said it had to be, when the vehicles, and there were 5 of them, were brought into Rocky Hill, it was with lights and sirens. And then they were picked up with lights and sirens. So, I think it was pretty obvious, but it was very, very cool. And it's a huge testament to our Chief Garrahy and to the men who serve for him, to have that recognition and to be so well respected, to be able to do something on behalf of the United States government and the White House and President Biden. So huge shout out to Chief Garrahy and the entire Rocky Hill Fire Department for that ability to do that. If you will notice, since the Belfonte Company has knocked down the old Ames corporate headquarters, folks are starting to really pay attention to the Silestine Highway. I've noticed most recently we have 3 new businesses already coming in on the Silestine. We have a trampoline park, we have a new nail salon, and we have a new bakery and a grab and go. So all in that vicinity, which is very exciting news because it is starting to attract new business, and that's exactly what we want to see. I already mentioned the Recycle CT app to know what's in, what's out. I think it's called Recycle CT Wizard.
Yes.
Okay. Again, the boat launch is open, so I just want to give a quick little safety reminder that when you're out on the water, that you remember all of your safety tips when you're conducting your water activities. Again, the fire department has been very busy with its community outreach and recruitment. They held an open house, and they had all types of live demonstrations for the kiddos, which was really cool. I think the adults enjoyed it just as much. They had fire demonstrations. They did, I think if there were 100 or more, I don't recall the exact number, but a lot of families went, and they did actually very well on the recruitment side as well, and got a list of folks who are interested in signing up to serve here as a volunteer firefighter. So congratulations on that. All of those public policy committees that make legislative recommendations that I'm on are over, thank goodness. And I just want to say a very big thank you to all of them, and particularly CCM, who did a great job advocating for all of the municipalities. And at the end of the day, I think, we are in better shape. Certainly getting more funding when it comes to education, and believe it or not, a little bit more funding when it comes to pilot. So at the end of the day, some good things came out of this past legislative session. Congratulations to our Little League team called the Cardinals, who made it to the Majors 2023 championship. That is a huge deal for our young baseball players, so congratulations. And congratulations to everyone who participated in the CCHD Walking Championship competition. Rocky Hill won the High Stepper Award and the Impact Award, and I think we get that huge trophy, or we get to keep the huge trophy that's down in the community center, so that's a really big deal. Thank you for everyone who participated. A big happy 100th birthday to Ephigenia Quintero, who celebrated down at the community center this weekend. She had a mariachi band, and she was surrounded by all of her family. And there are some photos online, and I also want to encourage folks to take a look at the community center when you're thinking about hosting a party. This was our first big party that we rented out the community center. They used the coffee bar as an actual bar, and they had wine set up, and they had a server, and it was beautifully decorated. So again, happy 100th birthday to Mrs. Quintero. Yesterday, Town Hall was closed for the very first time in recognition of Juneteenth. So quite a historic thing, which has now become a national holiday, and it was very exciting to be able to be one of those towns, because I don't think every single town recognized Juneteenth, and to be at the forefront of something like that. Thank you, Town Manager Carpentino, for recognizing the holiday. And I think the final thing is just a huge congratulations to the class of 2023. So we are so tremendously proud of all of those high school students and the ones who stepped up in middle school. So on behalf of the entire town council, congratulations to you and your families. I'm done.
Okay. Just a few things I want to run down. We have initiated an analysis of department operations. We'll be rolling out the first phase of that analysis, which would be a review of the particular department activities to make sure that we're sufficiently staffed and we're providing the level of service to the residents that we need to provide. So, we'll start with a few departments and continue that on and see how that rolls out. We are beginning to form some pension committees. So for the police department, fire department, and the Rocky Hill Volunteer Ambulance, we currently do not have pension committees for those particular pension funds. A little typo here. It should be Stevens School HVAC. I'll find somebody to blame for that typo eventually. But just a quick update. Our Mona and the finance department, they're working with the superintendent's office now to coordinate various resolutions in preparation for the next finance committee. in July to fund Phase 1 and 2 of the HVAC program. So there is funding available for that. So that is not an issue. I don't think it ever was on our side anyway. We are starting union negotiations with IOUE, International Organization of Union Operators. Yeah, international. Formerly NAGE Local 288. We met with them a few times, so that process has started, and that will be completed on time. The Landing, the new gift shop that opened June 14th at the Senior Center. It's managed and operated by our Rocky Hill seniors and Senior Center staff. I encourage you to run down and buy some homemade Rocky Hill syrup, which I never knew about. We have local syrup in Rocky Hill. And many
Like a maple syrup?
maple syrup, yeah.
Okay.
Right?
That's awesome.
Farm or something.
Yeah, some nice pickles,
Yeah,
too.
and pickles. I didn't
I bought the pickles.
Some accolades from the fire chief, Garahy, going to Walt Sykes, Joe Lentini, who had left, and Tom Bogus for their work on prepping the fire department training grounds for the department's recruitment open house. There was a correspondence in your package from Chief Garahy. And my last comment regarding Juneteenth, you can ignore. I wrote this Friday, and I don't know what I was thinking. That Juneteenth would have been gone and over with by the time I read this memo.
Yeah.
Ray, just a question. On the Stevens School HVAC update, during our budget process, we actually talked about funding Phase 1 and 2, and based upon the percentage of, I'll call it a rebate, but it's not
It's a
rebate.
reimbursement.
Reimbursement, thank
Yeah,
you, from the
mhm.
state. It may have actually funded Phase 3.
What I'm working with Chuck Zettergren now, we're trying to get a total, or at least an amount, and you'll see that at the next finance meeting. We definitely have Phase 1 and 2. They're trying to get their best quote, so based on the total, adding the percentage, but right now we have $1 million. I think we went over that during the budget process because of the Griswold Middle School came in lower than we had planned, so we had $400,000 there, $200,000 in non-reoccurring, and then the amount that they haven't used this year will bring them to at least $1 million. We're not sure what they'll close out this year. If they return additional money, it'll just make them that much closer. So we're definitely Phase 1 and 2. They are getting their quotes to give a total, and that will help us determine what the resolutions will be for finance.
I guess the piece I'm asking, I guess, is did they miss the fact that we funded that in the budget? Because we were pretty clear in our resolution that it was part of the budget.
I did do a very recent update and review with them this past week, because I think they were concerned about its availability. But I did do an update with them, so perhaps.
And I just forgot there's one more business that I forgot to mention, so there's 4. There's a little gift shop that's coming right across the street in the red building that was just renovated across from Town Hall, and then across from the CBD store. So, and potentially right next to that, another little store. So that's that.
I think so. I'm not missing anything?
Nope,
No?
we're good.
Okay.
All right.
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you,
Aye.
everyone. Good night.